We're going to look at the rest of the family members in this video tutorial, beginning with older brother. Here it is over here. When we use the kanji on its own, it refers to our own older brother, our humble older brother, and it's pronounced ani. When we want to refer to someone else's older brother, we need to be more polite. We need to pop the honorific o prefix in, and we add the kanji, the pronunciation, which now changes to ni. Ani on its own, but ni when it's preceded by o and followed with san. Oni-san, Oni-san, your older brother. It's very easy to see where the Chinese were coming from when they made this, because they drew on the top a great big mouth, and underneath they put that big mouth on human legs. So a big mouth on legs, that's an older brother. Next we have younger brother. There it is, and when it's on its own, it refers to your own younger brother, and it's pronounced ototo. Now that o in the word, that's not an honorific o, that's simply part of the actual word ototo. When we talk about someone else's younger brother, well, because they're younger, we don't have to be quite so polite, so you don't need the honorific o prefix. You just use ototo followed by san. Ototo-san. Now it sounds like there's an honorific o there, but in fact it's part of the actual word ototo-san. Now this character originally was a spindle surrounded with string, and there was apparently a mark at the top, or it was placed some low end for lower members of the family, but I have a much better way of remembering it. Our younger brother, well, let's pop his devil horns in, because he's a little devil. Secondly, he drives us round the bend, so we're going to go round the bend once, finish it off, twice, and 3 times. That's how bad he is. Drives us round the bend 3 times. I'm going to link it together and put his devil's tail. And there we get younger brother, ototo. Next we have the older sister. There's the character on its own, and this is the printed form, which looks a little different, doesn't it, to the handwritten form. It's pronounced ane. Ane, so that's what you would call your own older sister, and someone else's, because they're senior in the family, they get the honorific prefix o, and it becomes o. Ane changes to ne, or ne-san, or ne-san, or ne-san, someone else's older sister. Now in this kanji we can see on the left hand side very clearly the female element, and that makes perfect sense. Remember the stroke order? We put the left hip, and we pop the right hip, and then we do the arms. Now this element on the right hand side, originally, again it was something about a notch up the top, about it being firstborn female, but I think we've got a much easier way of remembering it. If we have a look at this right hand side, it's the exact character that we now use on its own for city. And of course, older sisters do spend a lot of time in the city, don't they? Going shopping. And now when you go to the city, the first thing you have to do is put your top hat on, because you don't go out to the city without a hat. That's just plain rude. So let's pop our top hat on. There we have down and across. So I've got our top hat on. Then we've got to navigate the roads of the city, and we're going to go down on the left street. We're going to go across on the right street and all the way down. And we still haven't found that dress we were looking for. So we're going to go right down the middle, down the high street. And there we have female and city older sister, ane. Next we have younger sister. There it is. On its own, it's pronounced imoto. Imoto, that would be one's own younger sister, whereas someone else's would have to have a son afterwards. Notice there's no honorific o prefix, because they're younger members of the family and they don't require that much respect. So we get imoto-san. That would be someone else's younger sister. Once again, we have the female element on the left, left hip, right hip, arms, and on the right hand side, this is actually a tree. Can you see the tree here? You can see that classic tree shape, but there's a small branch growing on top, and that indicates that this particular element, which is actually kanji in its own right, it means not yet. So that tree is still growing tall. It's not yet fully grown. If you look at the ancient characters, and these are from almost 4,000 years ago, some of them, it's a little bit difficult to tell, but on this one it's much easier. You can see the order's been switched around, so the female element here is on the right, here and here and here, and on the left, look, you can see that's a tree there that's still growing up tall. And in fact, oddly, this one's in the right order as far as we're concerned. we've got the female there, and on the right hand side that tree growing. Oh my goodness, look at that tree grow. Now the stroke order goes across with a little branch up the top, and underneath we put the classic tree shape. Across, there's your trunk, and there are the two branches coming down like that, and that is a female who is not yet fully grown, in other words, a younger sister or imoto.